Do you like the UFC or MMA and fighting and all that kind of stuff? Well, there's a token for that so that you can support your favorite fighters called the MRI token. We're going to talk about that in this video. But first, if this is your first time here, what's Gucci? My name is Sam, and for those of you who are returning, it's good to see you again. If you guys want to support, there's some links down below. Jump over to Twitter, say what's Scoot, Instagram, with a lot of fitness related stuff, or the other YouTube channel for a lot of fitness content. Now, what is this Marshall Rogan Inu token? First of all, it is a meme token, meaning there's probably not a lot of, I'm not going to try to be super biased, but there doesn't seem to be a lot of utility, right, to the token itself. But it's not necessarily the case. It's just not something that I personally value. So we're going to read through this section here. We're going to talk about the 3 use cases that are currently available for it, excluding this top one here, which I think could be beneficial to the token. And then I'm going to give you my thoughts and opinions on it related to the risks around it and the cost of doing business with it. So Marshall Rogan Inu is a meme token-based cryptocurrency project designed to support professional MMA fighters either directly or through alternative means such as sponsoring the gyms they train at, funding medical treatment, and helping to fund training camps. After paying for a multitude of expenses such as fighting camps, nutrition, coaches, transportation, and recovery, a great number of fighters don't make a lot of money. Yeah, well, that's just how life is. So their idea is to create a fund that pays these fighters, whether it's sponsoring the fighters or paying for medical or sponsoring or giving money to the organization that is needed, like the gym or medical treatment. They talk about supposedly, in talks with, which is just, marketing shit, doesn't actually mean anything at all. With the, I think it's the Cleveland Clinic, I think they mentioned, to related to brain trauma because there's concussions and whatnot. And they also go into a breakdown of the below average fighters in the UFC or you fighting and how much they actually get home in their paycheck, which is like an average, say about $25,000 per fight, and then a lot of that goes to expenses. Yeah, right. There's a lot of people in life who don't make a ton of money. Right. This is one of them. Those are a couple of the fighters there. Okay, I'm trying to find that section, but here we go. Fighters pay distribution on $25,000 fight, and what they actually say here is, to put in perspective, a below average fighter's compensation. Yeah, you just like you stated it right there. They're below average. Level up, bro. Level up. Do you think that they're going to be helping the people that are below average? No, they're going to be helping the people that are going to be the best people. They want this MRI thing to like be successful. If you go to their site here, Marshall, here we go. If you go to their actual website here, they have a goal or roadmap, so to speak, of what they want to do. And I think it's just loading extremely slow. But one of their things is to get people like Khabib or Conor McGregor, right? So on the roadmap, partners, Conor McGregor and Khabib as Marshall ambassadors. Do you think they give a shit about the below average fighter? At least be congruent with your message, fellas. Like you're talking about below average fighter, and then you're talking about how you want to get the person that's already making millions of dollars a year as an ambassador. Like, come on, people. Like, anyways, so the below average fighter, the person who is not very good, right? You probably have a lot of those people in your life. Think of that person when you think of this below average fighter that we're going to look at their compensation. Fighters pay distribution on $25,000 per fight. They might fight twice a year and make 50 grand, right? So training camp, 40%. Travel expenses, 16%. Taxes, 8%. Take home pay, 36%. Okay, cool. Makes sense, right? They make 36%. They're saying like that's about $9,000, and that's not super good. So that's one of the reasons is that they put forth as to why they're creating this thing to support the MMA fighters and all of that and whatnot. Now, when I should probably not do any of these things more for meme tokens, right? Now, the next page that I got to was this one here, right? This is the details of the token, right? So there's a billion circulating supply. On their site, they actually talk about the burning of tokens, but I saw it somewhere on their site, but I can't seem to find any details on how shit is actually getting burned because it's not in the paper. But as soon as I got to this, I was like, oh my gosh, why would anybody ever buy this? So this is kind of getting into my opinion as well, but there was, at least initially, it appears, a buy and sell tax of 15%. Let me ask you a question here. Do you, if you're going to invest $10,000 or 100 grand into a stock, say Tesla, right? Do you want there to be a 30% tax in and out? You're gonna put in 100 grand and you have to pay $30,000 to buy it and then sell it. I just don't have anything else to say on that. Like, why the fuck would anybody ever want to do that? They say that it is going to go to 5% for marketing. This is for the buy. So this actually, let's not look at the buy because that one is actually going away. That according to their website, that one is no longer. The sell tax, right? 10% for marketing, 3% for liquidity, 2% for development, right? So I don't even know what to say about this. Like, that's not there anymore. They have the sell tax, which is 15%. Like, doesn't seem like a great idea to me. But the best ideas that I could pull forth on this are that you could take your, because there's people who spend money on dumb shit, right? In my point of view of the world, they could take this MRI token and they could trade it in for gift cards, right? People like memorabilia and like this the sports stuff that people buy, like jerseys and things like that is what comes to mind. But I'm sure that there's like numbers or like people's faces or like shorts or I don't know, stuff like that that they do in fighting as well. So you could take your MRI token and trade it in for gift cards. Maybe you get like a bonus there of some sort, or I don't know. So I was like, oh, that might be a slight interesting use for certain people who are like super deep into this stuff. Another use case is their staking. So they have a staking protocol, and you can earn 6.6%. So I mean that's not terrible, but that's assuming that you like this MRI token. Like you have, in my opinion, if you're going to go staking on any protocol, you got to like what you're dealing with, the underlying. You have to enjoy that. You have to be okay with holding that thing like MRI. It's not something I would personally feel comfortable holding, but you have to feel comfortable holding this, and then you can earn that, right? Another way to earn is through liquidity providing. So I don't know why, but liquidity providing is done through this, through their site. But it's probably on Uniswap. Let's go over here. So you can provide liquidity between the MRI and ETH token. So what is liquidity providing? On decentralized exchanges, things like Uniswap, PancakeSwap, SushiSwap, all these things, they allow people to trade between different tokens without any KYC, know your customer rules, like when you go to a bank, right? They want to see your license and your social security number and blah, 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 and all this other garbage to open up an account, right? At Uniswap or places like that, you don't need any of that. You can swap between whatever token you have and another token, right? You pay a small fee. And that small fee on, say, something like a traditional brokerage, think of like a Ameritrade or Charles Schwab or E-Trade. I think a lot of those have like gotten rid of their fees because of Robinhood, but they still basically get paid for trading. It's just they're getting the marketing and or they're selling your trade data, so like hedge funds can front run you and whatnot. Now, with this on, say, Uniswap, when there's somebody swapping between ETH and MRI or MRI and ETH, there's the fee, and that fee goes to people who are actually putting money into the pool because it's all a formula. It's not an order book like those Charles Schwab, right? It's not an order book. It's just based on a formula. It's called an automated market maker. You earn 154%. So you're like, okay, that's pretty good. Remember, you have to be okay with holding this thing. ETH, I'm okay with holding. MRI, not so much, personally. But you can go through and you can commit your stuff from 7 days up to 365 days and get a bonus. So you can get a 50% bonus, so you can get 2.25 on this if you locked it in there for a year and you assume that that rate stayed constant for the entire year, right? Because it doesn't stay constant. But that's compelling, like a 200%, right, return on your stuff. Until you take a look at, like, there's 10x's you can have just by holding a token, right? Like you can have a 10x by just holding a token, or you can hold this thing, this MRI thing, and get this return. Now, if people support this, that's cool. That's awesome, right? Like that's hopefully I think that this could help perpetuate the faster decline of some of the more legacy sports things like NHL, NBA, and NFL. Like I think this could help perpetuate the decline of those faster, because at least UFC, the largest one out there. I'm sure that there's other ones I just have never heard of, but they, from Dana White and like his organization, they support freedom, right? And they support that kind of stuff. So a lot of people support that, and that is, I can see that continuing to grow, especially how it has been growing. It's tremendous. And I could see that continuing to build and grow worldwide as something like a crypto gets tagged along with it, that it just helps the fighting in terms of marketing standpoint, because you increase the ecosystem like around fighting. So that's interesting. Now, the last, and I think probably the most useful case for MRI is the betting. You can take your MRI and you can go gamble on fights. You can go take your MRI and bet on fights. And I'm sure that there's plenty of people who would actually like to do that. Given how popular the UFC type stuff is, there would be people who would bet on fights, and that would be a way to legally do that because you're using crypto, right? I would believe. I'm not going to use a site. If you're interested in that shit, you can probably find it on their site, or you can find it on their site to go through and bet on that. Now, what are my thoughts? I think you could probably understand what my thoughts are on this. Not something I would be interested in touching personally. They basically just copied the Joe Rogan logo here. If you look at Joe Rogan podcast logo, you get to see this, right? The Joe Rogan logo here is effectively just a copy of theirs here, right? They just took his logo and copied it, and then the Inu portion is Shiba Inu. It's just a straight up like meme coin. Then they're trying to provide some type of like benefits on top of it. But if that's your prerogative, if you like this kind of stuff, hopefully this video was helpful. If you find these videos where we're going into more in depth on different things, let me know in the comments. If you have any other cool, interesting projects that you think I should take a look at, let me know in the comments. If you know somebody else in the fighting world who could benefit or might benefit or might enjoy this MRI token, take a second, press the share button, share this video with them. You can check me out on Twitter, on Instagram, or my other YouTube channel, active on all those places. Instagram, a lot of fitness, my other YouTube channel, a lot of fitness related stuff going live going live every Thursday at 6:30 p.m. EST, talking fitness related stuff. So if you like this kind of stuff, we talk a lot about PEDs, performance enhancing drugs and whatnot. 6:30 p.m. EST, you can ask your questions, all that. But as on the other YouTube channel, on Twitter, very active on Twitter, a lot of crypto related stuff. Appreciate you guys. Peace.